How's it going, everybody? For today's beer review, we're going to be taking a look at Deep Ellum Brewing Company's Deep Ellum Pale Ale. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a beer from a brewery in a place that is very near and dear to me. That is Deep Ellum Brewing Company. Now, these guys are based in Deep Ellum, which is a really kick-ass district in Dallas, Texas, which is about 2.5 hours away from me or so. And it's just a really cool place. It's basically like 4 or 5 roads just intersecting with each other by block at a time. And it's just a bunch of like tattoo parlors, burger joints, bars, piercing parlors, head shops, live music venues, street performers, just like this really kind of rock and roll craft beer-esque because of these guys, tattoo piercing, just kind of edgy place sort of, but it's really cool. The people there, I haven't run into any kind of like, like unfriendly people or anything. Everyone there has just been very cool, and as if that place couldn't have gotten any cooler, they opened up a microbrewery in it, so it is just awesome. Anyway, I went and toured these guys, and I had this beer on tap there, and I remembered thinking it was a really tasty pale ale. So, as you know, though, it's not exactly going to be a comparison between having it fresh out of the tank at the brewery and in a can that has sat for, a little bit longer. Now, this one was done, this was actually done on February 1st, so this is barely a month old, very fresh still, so it may be a good representation of it. Anyway, the commercial description on this can, let me see if there is one even, it just says a deeper shade of pale, oatmeal pale ale, so that oatmeal may give it a little more of a thickness or maybe a little more creamy mouthfeel. I'm trying to see if there's any information on the can at all. Nope. I'm not even seeing an ABV on this beer. So, let me look up the ABV real quick. Well, they don't tell me what the ABV is on their website. Beer Advocate doesn't know what the ABV is, which is saying something. Rate Beer says that it comes in at 6% ABV, so I guess we'll just go off of that. That's pretty much all I really have to say about this. I'm going to be drinking this today, of course, out of my Deep Ellum Pale Ale pint glass. I mean, these two were just made for each other, so without further ado, let's crack the can open and see what it's all about. Alrighty. Straight out, it pours a nice kind of caramel orange color. I'm going to pour this pretty aggressively now. Seems to have a pretty low head potential. I would call it medium-low, which is surprising since the ABV isn't too terribly high, and with the style and all, I would have expected a little bit more head potential on that. As far as the color goes, it is actually very hazy and murky. It's not easy to see through this at all. In fact, I can't see anything through it. And the color I would call kind of like honey, I think. Honey in color is what I would call that. It looks pretty good in the glass. As far as the smell is concerned, kind of has that yeasty Pilsner, just beery beer smell to it. Light dusting of hops. And just a slight bit of a malty backbone on it, perhaps even maybe being due to the fact that it's an oatmeal pale ale. Mostly it just smells like beer. Let's give it a taste and see how it stands up in that field. Decent. A definite lawnmower beer. Or a shower beer. Do you guys do shower beers? I do shower beers. This is a shower beer. This is something, it has a decent little, well, let's say decent, it has a little bit of a hop bitterness on it. It's well balanced, I'll give it that. It's just a little bit of lightly malty sweetness up front, and I mean very lightly. And it ends on just a barely bitter hoppy ending or finish. This would be a good. This is a good beer for numerous occasions. Sitting around and sipping on it and reviewing it and taking taste notes is not one of them. It's not a savoring beer. It's not something to be savored. This would serve its purpose as a transitional beer, albeit like a beer that you would have if all you knew was just Bud Light, Miller, stuff like that, and you're wanting to get into something a little more hoppy and bitter. This would be a good beginner point, I think. 2, this would be a good food pairing beer. It's a good thirst quencher because it's not just crazy in its flavor. It's just a not that strong tasting beer. This would go great with anything, food. It would go great with food. And then finally, this is a good yard work and shower beer and just a session beer. Something you just kind of throw back and you're not really putting too much thought into it. As far as my rating goes, I would give it, I'd probably give it about a 70 to a 73 in the style. It's an okay representation of the pale ale style. Obviously, I want something a little more hoppy, and I'm not asking for an IPA here. I know what the difference is between a pale ale and an IPA, but I still would like it to be a little bit more bitter and a little bit more hoppy. As far as my own personal score goes of how much I'm enjoying this, a little bit of caramel on the nose too, which is nice. I give it like a 60, It's nothing special. It's just a beer for me. It's just a basic old pale ale. There's really not much more for me to say than that, so that has been my review of Deep Ellum Brewing Company's Deep Ellum Pale Ale. If you ever have a chance to go to the brewery, try it on tap, because, man, I remember it just being absolutely phenomenal when it was on tap. Out of the can, it's whatever. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the beer review as always. Stay tuned for the next one.